guys, today I'm here with my Sephora VIB sale recommendations. All of the information for discounts and dates will be listed down below. I don't want to waste too much time because I've got a lot of products to talk about. Be sure to subscribe if you are curious about this look. It will be in an upcoming Violet Voss #palette 3 looks 1 palette video. And if you are shopping the sale, use Ebates, okay? Don't forget to use Ebates if you haven't already signed up after all of my preaching. You get a percentage back on your order. So even if the VIB sale is giving you a 15% off, it may only be like 2%, but then it's like 17% off. I will have a code down below. It's an affiliate code. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to use it. Just sign up on your own because Ebates is the best. You can use it US, you can use it in Canada, and if you don't end up shopping the VIB sale, I find after the VIB sale they always do a pretty good little discount too. If you don't feel like, if you're feeling a little bit pressured and then you feel like regret after not shopping the sale, they generally do a pretty good little cash back after the sale has happened. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's kick it off with foundations. I have 4 foundation recommendations. There's probably other foundations that I've tried and liked, so if you're like, why is it in here? I can only talk about so much, but I definitely have 4 that stood out to me in my mind that I feel are really great foundations. The first is the one that I'm wearing. This one is the Natural Radiant Long Wear Foundation from NARS. I have reviews for all of these, so I will list it down below. This one, when I wear it on video, in person, like out and about in life, I always get compliments on my skin, and as someone who doesn't have good skin, that means a lot. It has a great wear time, really probably the most natural finish of all of the foundations I'm mentioning today. It's a great shade match for me. There's tons of shades in the line, but of course NARS is a higher end brand, so it is a little bit pricier, as are all of these items, so it's a great time to pick up some of those higher price items if you were curious that are available at Sephora. I have 3 other foundations that are all great. They're all kind of similar in the sense that they're all quite matte, really long wearing, high coverage, so as I mentioned, I will have all of the reviews listed down below if you kind of want to figure out which one may work best for you. But the most recent one that I tried is the Dior Forever Undercover Full Coverage Foundation. Although this is super matte and super full coverage, I feel like it looks like skin as much as it can for a matte full coverage foundation, so it's a really, really good one. And then 2 that I tried over the 12 days of foundation late last year. From Marc Jacobs, I have the Remarkable, and then from Laura Mercier, I have the Backwards Flawless Fusion Ultra Longwear Foundation. I actually reviewed this twice, if you are familiar with my mystery foundation review series, which I will be doing more of. I ended up reviewing this twice and loved it both times, blind and not blind. And then from Marc Jacobs, again, this is a super high coverage foundation, a high price item. You're not even getting a full fluid ounce in here, but you truly do need less than you would of the majority of foundations that are out there. And again, super high coverage, really, really long wearing. So all of these foundations that I recommend are really great for oily skin. If you have a more normal combo or even dry skin, I would recommend the NARS. To apply any of those foundations, I've fallen in love with the Clarisonic foundation brush. If you already own a Clarisonic, you're gonna save yourself a couple $100 and you can just buy the brush head, which is $39 Canadian, but you do need the Clarisonic obviously to go with it, so what better time than to purchase it during the VIB sale. You'll get even more off in the fall. Generally they'll do a 20% off depending on your level, but I was blown away by this. I had this sitting in my collection for the longest time. I hadn't tried it because I just wasn't really convinced. I definitely find it does take a longer time for application if you're blending out things like cream products, concealers, cream highlighters, foundations, but it just looks so good on the skin. I couldn't believe it, especially when I had really textured skin. I truly noticed the difference in it kind of smoothing things out on my skin, blending things flawlessly. It does feel a little bit funny, I find, when I do like my full-on foundation, concealer, cream, contour, and I have this on my face for a while. It does get a little tingly, feels quite odd around the nose, but not to the point where it's at all uncomfortable. But I've just been so incredibly impressed with this. I don't know that it's something I would necessarily use like every day if I'm rushing out the door, but on a day like today, a day where I really want my makeup to look extra amazing, this has just totally impressed me. Let's continue doing this in the order that I do my makeup. The next is something that I've got a few items in here actually like this that people have been recommending forever and I've just gotten around to trying, so I figured I would mention them in case you are like me. But this is the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer. I will link to my most recent foundation routine down below. There's a lot of products that I absolutely love in there that I didn't necessarily mention here today, and if you want to see some of these items that I'm mentioning today in action. But I really love this because I didn't expect it to have much coverage. When it says naked skin, I expect it to be one of those like illuminating concealers that really doesn't do much of anything, but I feel like this gives beautiful coverage without having that super matte look. So if you have drier skin and you didn't love Shape Tape, you didn't love some of the really kind of intense concealers that are out there, I think this could be a great option, or like a NARS Radiant Creamy. This is kind of what it reminds me of the most, in the sense that it gives good coverage, but at the same time it's super creamy under the eyes. But as you know, I have oily skin and I don't find it slips around. It doesn't feel too oily. I obviously set it, but it does have this beautiful skin-like finish, but it is also giving you a really nice concealed look, getting rid of the darkness under the eyes. So I was just super impressed with this. Moving on to powders, I have one powder that is super talked about, one powder that was kind of talked about and I don't feel like many people really liked. The first is the Laura Mercier Loose Translucent Setting Powder. Again, late to the bandwagon on this guy, but I love it for setting my under eye, and in my most recent foundation routine, a lot of you mentioned how much you loved it for setting your face, even if you had oily skin. So I definitely need to try that. I feel like I got rid of the puff that came in this, and it's really annoying me because I was like, I'm not going to use that puff, but then I feel like everybody who loves it uses the puff, so I'm gonna have to try that route. And then the next powder is, I feel like I saw so many people talking about this when it came out, and a lot of people were trying to set their under eyes with it and they felt it was too deep. It is the Becca Soft Light Blurring Powder, and I've yet to try the Hydro Mist, so stay tuned for my review on that. But this I really love. I got a lot of requests when I did my foundations for textured skin video to talk about powders for textured skin, and my powder routine didn't really change. It was definitely the foundation that made the biggest difference, and then powder didn't really make much of a difference in my routine. But one that definitely came to mind is this, because it is just so finely milled, so smooth. The one I use is in the shade Golden Hour, which has a little bit of a golden tint to it. They've also come out with a pink one as well. Really doesn't have a lot of color. It's not the kind of thing I would use under my eyes though, unless I had a much deeper skin tone. Same with the pink. But what I loved about this is just, it doesn't look like I'm wearing powder. Now, it's not necessarily the most mattifying powder ever, but I do find it does mattify the skin. It does help to smooth things out a little bit, or at least not make them look super cakey. If you do have really oily skin, it may not give you the oil control that you're looking for. You may want to lean on more matte foundation or a primer, whatever it may be. But I find sometimes when I use a matte foundation and then I put a matte powder over it, everything just kind of falls a little bit flat, and this does a good job setting my makeup without kind of removing all the dimension and life from my face. For blush, a blush that I cannot stop using, again, use this in my foundation routine, so I'm sorry that I'm kind of repeating myself here, but these are my recommendations of what I've been using lately. They are the Bare Minerals Gen Nude blushes. These are fabulous. I've been so impressed with all of the stuff Bare Minerals has been releasing over the past year and a half, since they've kind of moved away from a lot of the loose powder items, although I haven't used those, so not to say that those were bad, but this is the only thing I have experience with. And these blushes, in a weird way, remind me of MAC blushes. I don't know what it is, but I think it's maybe the tone of them or the way they look on the skin. And I love MAC blushes. They're one of my favorite things that MAC does. And these are great as well. It's just really good colors, really easy but beautiful. They last long on the skin. They've got some really deep shades, like this shade here that I have is But First Coffee. So if you have like a deeper skin tone, like that's gonna be gorgeous. That peach though is another one of my favorite shades, so I've been really impressed with those. And as much as I love blushes, I feel like I don't try a lot of new blushes for whatever reason, so those have really been fun to play with, and I've really been enjoying all the shades that I have. And then the last kind of face item that I have here is from Makeup Forever, and I raved about this in my March favorites, and I don't have a ton to say about it. Again, used it in my favorites, or sorry, my current foundation routine. but this, as I described in that video, is like the most beautiful, natural, impactful glow. It looks like you drink all your water, you get your monthly facials, and your skin looks incredible. So whether you have textured skin, dull skin, you just want to glow, you want a cream highlighter, you want to wear it on no makeup days. I haven't tried mixing it into foundation or anything, but if you swatch it in store, you're kind of like, I don't get it. But when you put it on your face, it is just so incredible. I cannot get enough of it, can't stop using it. For the brows, a quick shout out to the Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter. This has changed my life. I would throw out all of my brow gels just to use this one. I've been getting more and more compliments on my brows lately, so thank you. As you know, brow compliments are my favorite kind of compliments, but this brow gel is just incredible. It gives me everything I want. It has really long hold without it being crunchy or shiny. The brush on it is actually so good because you have one side that is short, another side that is long, so that helps to add dimension. I never want my brow to look like it's constructed on my face. I never want my brow to look like it's drawn on. I want it to have dimension and be fluffy, but at the same time I want it not to move. So those are two very conflicting wants for my brows, and this gives me everything that I want. Come VIB sale, for whatever reason, I always feel the need to throw in an eyeshadow palette in my cart. Last year, out of nowhere, I was like about to press place order and then just threw in the Anastasia Makeup Mario palette. This year, I'm recommending two, and the first is the Anastasia Soft Glam palette. I did an entire 3 looks 1 palette on this if you would like to see it in action. I feel like it's a very versatile palette, but it kind of depends on where you are in your makeup journey if you need it. And of course, need is a very subjective term. Like, I don't need any of the things that I'm surrounded in right now. But if you are on the hunt for a good everyday palette, you haven't really found it yet, but you want something that's going to be leaning warm, you like really impactful, shimmery, almost foiled shades, this is beautiful. If you already own a ton of neutrals, you feel like you're drowning in palettes, no, you don't need it, but overall it is a great palette in terms of the range of shades, the blendability, the wear time, all of that good stuff. I cannot say a bad thing about it. We are, however, inundated with palettes at this time, and it's tricky to kind of reinvent the wheel, and I don't think that they needed to with this. I think that there was a hole in their existing kind of version of palettes that they have, because although I love modern renaissance and I think it's amazing, I know it kind of scared a lot of people off with being so fiery and warm. So I think this kind of fills that need for their kind of more traditional palette that still has some great warmth in there and some really, really good shimmers that I felt were actually better than the modern renaissance. And then same can be said for Urban Decay. I don't think we needed another small warm palette in the market, but Urban Decay needed it because I always looked at those Urban Decay Basics palettes and was like, they're so cute and small and matte and I love it, but they're just gonna look gray on my eyes. So that is where the Naked Petite Heat comes into play, and I've mentioned this already. I'm sorry, I'm being so repetitive in this video, but Emily Noel has a great comparison video on this, so I'm not gonna get into it. If you have Naked Heat, the original, you don't really need this, but if you don't have it and you are someone who travels, you are someone just looking for a couple of warm basics and you just want to throw like your gold highlighter on your eye, or you don't really love shimmery shades, I still think that this is a great palette. I think it's got a good range of shades in there, and I feel like it goes deep enough. Sometimes with those Naked Basics palettes, I was like, I can use 2 out of the 5 or 6 shades that are in there because the transition shades are so light. So I feel like this does a good job within the few shades that are in there, satisfying a nice range. Moving right along to lips, I feel like glosses are making a comeback, at least in my life, especially a glossy nude. And the perfect line to delve into is the Bare Minerals Gen Nude glosses, or lip lacquers, whatever they're calling them. I did a lip swatch video on Instagram, so I will link to that down below, but some of them have such subtle changes between them, and I think it's kind of genius because we all have subtle differences in our skin, subtle differences in undertone, and that will really kind of dictate what nude looks good on you. It can go really concealery, really kind of like dead looking in the face really quick, but with these, I think some of them have beige undertones, pinky, warmer, cooler. I'm wearing the shade Bay today, I think, and there's just a really nice range. I think there's 15 or 20 in there, really comfortable on the lips. They are kind of a lacquer in the sense they're a little bit thicker, have a good pigmentation. These aren't going to last all day. They're not going to be transfer proof, of course, and they have a little bit of stick to them, but I kind of like it. reminds me-ish of the MAC lip glosses, which I absolutely love. I know a lot of people didn't love those. I don't think they have the same thickness, but that general idea. But what I really love about this line is the fact that they do have so many shades that are quite similar to like the, remember the Maybelline Intimatte nudes. I thought that that was great because a nude on me is not a nude on you, is not a nude on her, is not a nude on him, right? So I think that that is a really, really nice way to do a line, and there should be kind of a shade in there for everybody. And then perhaps what ignited the gloss thing in my life is the Fenty Gloss Bomb. I feel like everybody loves this. Even if you don't like makeup, I feel like people were like walking into Sephora for the first time ever just to purchase this. I think it's a great price. I think that the shade is truly universal. And I mean, I probably wouldn't have bought this if not for Rihanna. Like, let's be honest here. I was like, a nude gloss, it's got shimmer in it, like what? But I absolutely love this. Had to go like dig it out of my bag to find it. I think it's incredible. Makes a great gift, makes a great purse item. It's super, super beautiful. And then speaking of even more affordable items from Sephora collection, which I think is totally underrated, they have these Lip Story lipsticks, and I think that these are so good. I think the formula is great, huge shade range as Sephora always does with their products. They've got like metals, mattes, creams, and then in those lines they have super cool shades, really neutral shades, really, really bold shades. The packaging is adorable. I think these are so incredibly giftable. This one is in the shade Hot in Havana. It's a beautiful matte orange, but like imagine you went on vacation with like your friend in Havana and you could give them this lipstick, or you went on vacation and you can give it to yourself. On top of that, the formula is great. I will say, albeit adorable, the packaging is a little bit on the cheap side. It is kind of a cardboardy and plastic, but I mean, it's so affordable. You're going to be saving even more during this sale, and there's such a huge shade range. It's cheaper than a lot of drugstore lipsticks, so I think that these are great. And then when it comes to actually hydrating the lips, I have two recommendations. The first is almost empty, actually. It is the Drunk Elephant Lippy Balm. I love this. In my favorites video a few months back, someone educated me because I didn't look into it myself, but I was like, I don't understand why it's so big, but I like it. Apparently it's because your lips, around your lips, that area kind of gets a little bit neglected at times, and that's kind of an area that shows aging earlier than others. So it's to hydrate kind of around your lips as well. I bought this for my boyfriend for Valentine's Day, if you saw that vlog, and now I'm almost done it, so I'm probably just gonna be stealing his. I don't know if he's still using it or not. I'm gonna have to look in his book bag. But I think it's a beautiful, beautiful lip balm. Great purse item. Feels really, really hydrating on the lips. Good for the everyday. I'll use something heavier overnight, but it truly does kind of plump the lips. Makes them look a little bit glossier than the average lip balm, but it's still not super glossy and lasts a really nice length of time on the lips. And then the second item, I don't have here. I don't know what happened to it. I keep it by my bed. I use it every single night, and last night I couldn't find it. And I feel like that happens a lot with videos. There's a product that I use all the time. It's always in the same spot, and then I go to put it in the video and it gets shy and like runs away or something. But it is the Laneige lip sleeping mask, I think it is, or just lip mask. Either way, it's incredible. Everybody has been raving about it lately, and with good reason. I slather that on my lips at night. In the morning, they still feel super hydrated, super plump. One of the best lip masks I've ever tried, and although the price is up there, you're only using a little bit at night. It is such a beautiful formula that you really don't need to use a whole lot, so I feel like it will last you for quite some time. Moving on to a few hair and skin items that I definitely love from Sephora, and let me know, are you the type of person that wants to spend more on makeup and less on like skincare and hair, or are you the opposite? Are you a dangerous combination of both? But either way, I'm kind of both. I love drugstore, I love high-end, I don't really care, I just love stuff. But this first item is definitely high-end. Yeah, she's pricey. Yeah, it is the Dyson Supersonic Hairdryer, and before I had tried this, I was like, that's ludicrous. I don't get it. As you know, I tested it out in the month of November, ended up working with Dyson in December, so this was sent to me. But I promise you, if something happened to this, if someone walked into my apartment and stole it, I would go repurchase it tomorrow. I love this, and that's something I think a lot of people, there's a lot of like taboo about PR and receiving things for free, but this is my business and it's my job to test things out. But if it's up to me to go buy stuff, I'm mostly only going to buy things that I think I'm going to like, and PR allows me to be exposed to different brands, different items, and different things that, you know, like the Physicians Formula foundation. I would have never tried that, and now it's one of my favorite ever, and it's something I can recommend to you. Anyways, total side note, I think that this is incredible. I can't attest if you have like decently good shiny hair, is it really going to do much for you? But I have had trouble with my curly hair forever, and I've had a few of you who also have curly hair who say you love this so much. And the reason I love it for a few different reasons. I use mine with the diffuser, which I don't have kind of attached to it right now, but I find every time I use this I get a good result with my hair. And I am on a hair journey, my hair is better, but this just does something, and it's so much faster. I can blow dry my hair in 10 minutes, and I'm not like, I didn't take care of my hair for a really long time, so blow drying my hair at all for me is like, no, I don't want to. But this is just super quick, really, really beautiful. It doesn't feel like it's damaging my hair. One of the biggest things about this dryer is that it works with a lot of strong air power as opposed to necessarily only leaning on heat. So it kind of wicks the water off of your hair as opposed to like singeing and burning it off your hair. If you don't have the money to spend on this, do not empty your bank account for this. Don't do it. But if you do have the money and you were curious or something like that, I think it's incredible and I would repurchase it. And I think that's the biggest kind of test of time, or my biggest way that I can tell you that I would recommend this, even though it is a really high price item. She's glorious. Another hair item that I really love is from Alterna. As you can see, this is almost empty. It is their Infinite Color and Hold Top Coat Shine Spray. It's for color treated hair. And my hair is, I mean, I've gotten my hair cut recently, so the majority of my highlights are out. I'm actually going to get them put back in 2 days. But I really love this as kind of a finishing step for my hair. I really see that it adds shine back in my hair, and I really love the way it looks, both when I have my hair straight with a blowout and as when I have kind of curlier hair like this. I don't run through hair products very quickly. There's very, besides like a conditioner, obviously, because I put like half a cup every time I use it. But when it comes to like styling products, I love trying different things. But this is something that I've stuck with every time I've done my hair since I got it. So I think that it is just so good, and it is quite light. So even if you don't have curly hair, I think it could be really great for you as well if you're looking for kind of that finishing step. Okay, we're almost there. A few more skincare items. This is the Origins Original Skin Cleansing Makeup Removing Jelly. And I talked about this in a favorites video a little while back, and this is one of the best makeup removers I've ever used. I especially think if you have oily skin and you're a little bit averse to oil cleansers, although I still love oil cleansers, this is just a really unique texture. It feels like jelly. It's interesting. It doesn't like necessarily turn into an oil on your face or anything like that, but it gets a little bit softer and just removes everything on your face. It does such a good job. Actually, this whole line I recommend. The Original Skin, I've used their toner, I've used the moisturizer, most recently I've been using the primer, and I've been really impressed with this. I feel like it's a really good line for oily skin, but it's not all about stripping the skin. It's about adding that right level of hydration, which in turn is going to kind of balance your oil. So really, really, really loving this. Speaking of oils, the Drunk Elephant Marula Oil, Virgin Marula Luxury Facial Oil. Love this. I am working on an oils for oily skin video because I am a big believer in making sure your skin is hydrated so that it's not overproducing oils, and this is one of them that I love. Drunk Elephant, high price item. This is kind of a deluxe size sample, or it's not full size either way, but this is so good. I only use it at night. Yeah, I only use it at night. I don't really use oils during the day. That's kind of playing with fire for me at this point, but I do love using them in the nighttime, and I feel like this is just super hydrating on the skin. Feels really good, but it doesn't feel heavy and greasy as you would expect an oil. It does absorb into the skin. It feels really good, and it leaves my skin feeling soft. I don't even know what its claims are, but I love it. Rich in critical antioxidants and omega-6 and 9, moisturizes while restoring a youthful glow. So I would absolutely recommend this. And if you do have dry skin, it's something you could potentially mix into a foundation, use during the day. It's fun for everyone. And lastly, I have a moisturizer. I have 2 videos on my favorite moisturizers for oily skin. I have another one on my favorite SPFs for oily skin, and I will be doing more oily skin skincare. I was just kind of taking a break from trying out a lot of things over the past couple months, so I'm getting back into that now. But this is the Glam Glow Water Burst Hydrated Glow Moisturizer, and I was a little bit scared to try this, but this is so nice. I love their matte moisturizer. That one I've talked about before. It's quite a bit thicker. It's almost like a pore filler slash moisturizer. This is definitely much lighter weight than that. Smells so good. All of their stuff smells really good. but this literally feels like you're putting water on your face. It absorbs incredibly quickly. So if you're oily, you have oily skin and you're kind of scared of moisturizers, which I totally understand, I think that this is so great and so light. But sometimes you can get a moisturizer for oily skin and it just kind of disappears and you're like, did it do anything? This feels so fresh, so light and hydrating on the skin, but it doesn't leave any residue. Great under makeup. And if you want to use this at night, you could mix this in with something like the marula oil to even bump up the moisture in there, but this is super good. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to let me know if you have anything in your cart for the Sephora VIB sale. If you'd like to connect with me, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat at samanthajaneyt, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!